what have we here? Is this a Dyson? Is it a Fantom? Well, it is neither of those. It is a Johnson Vectron. So, at first glance, it looks like it's a Phantom Thunder, but upon a closer inspection, you'll notice that actually it has quite a few differences from the Phantom Thunder. So, basically, the backstory behind this vacuum goes, in the late 1980s, James Dyson contracted with Iona Appliances to make a commercial vacuum cleaner, the Johnson Vectron for S.C. Johnson. So obviously you can tell by this commercial cord and the orange buttons and dials that this is a commercial machine. It was made from 1989 to 1991, and when S.C. Johnson decided not to market vacuum cleaners, commercial vacuum cleaners, in 1991, Iona Appliances decided that they will make the same machine, but for household use, and that became known as the Fantom, which is much more well known in the vacuum community than this machine is. So, I got this one from the Vacuum Cleaner Museum in Missouri. Unfortunately, the motor is shot. However, I guess that's not too unfortunate because this vacuum cleaner uses a double fan lamb motor, which is rebuildable. That's one of the unique features of this machine, is that Vectron, the Fantom Thunder, which are all essentially the same machine, they all use the dual fan motor, and it was the only backless vacuum to ever use that kind of motor. So that is one thing that's kind of unique about these. So obviously you'll see there's some differences in all like the colors of all the parts. Like for instance, dial, cyclone assembly, and buttons on the top are all orange. On the earliest Fantom models, buttons and dials were white, and then second Fantom model, buttons and dials were blue, and then when they released the Phantom Thunder, changed all the buttons and dials to black, and then dark blue. So I just think it's kind of cool because this is a very rare machine. They did not make a lot of them, and my guess is that most of them were probably thrown away, given that vacuum cleaners tend to be used heavier in commercial use. Because of the way that this vacuum cleaner is designed, no pre-motor filters. I would assume a lot of fine dust probably went through this vacuum and could have been the result of this vacuum motor's failure, because in reality the kind of vacuum motor that this vacuum used is meant to last like 20 or 30 years. So my guess is that its life was cut short due to its design, the fact that it didn't have any pre-motor filters to catch any of the fine dust. Which leads me to my next point about this vacuum, is that unlike its later Thunder and Fantom and then the Thunder relatives, this vacuum does not have a fluff trap, which is usually around right here on the Fantom and then the Fantom Thunder models. This one does not have a fluff trap, so that basically means that there is virtually nothing stopping excess fine dust, hair, lint from going into the motor. So that could be another reason why not many of these exist today, is that even though the Fantoms and then the Thunders still also had pretty much just a fluff trap, this has absolutely nothing to stop the lint and hair, anything that these dual cyclones cannot filter out. Another couple other differences. This one does not use an 11 amp motor or a 12 amp motor like its later relatives. It actually uses a 10 amp motor, as you can see. So that is the label. the S.C. Johnson & Son Incorporated commercial vacuum made in Canada, 10 amps. So this vacuum only uses 10 amps as opposed to later Fantoms that used 11 amps, and then the Thunder, which used 12 amps. Actually, I was talking to a guy earlier about Fantoms, and he said that the very first model Fantoms were actually 9 amps. So that was something that I did not know, but I've yet to find a 9 amp Fantom. Supposedly they're very uncommon. Apparently the very first models of Fantoms were just used for testing and people who participate in the infomercial. So love to find one of those one of these days. I've also heard that apparently the size of the dustbin might be a little bit different in comparison to the Fantom and Thunder models, so that is something that I unfortunately cannot compare at the moment because I'm away at college. All my vacuum cleaners are at home, so I do have a few Thunders at home I could compare it to at some point. There's a couple parts missing on it, like this cap for the wheel, and then there's a cap. You can see that there's some damage to the top of the handle. I have an extra cap from a Thunder at home that I'll try to pop on and see if it will fit. Let's see. Something else that's very unique about this particular vacuum, at least in comparison to its newer Thunder models, and I was not expecting this when I bought it, but I'm just going to pop off the hood quick. So there's a couple things about this vacuum that you can't see without me taking this hood off. They're different from its Thunder variants. So when we take this off, you will see a couple more interesting things about this vacuum. So what do you see now? That is a brush roll that has replaceable brush strips. Now, who would have thought that they made essentially a Fantom that had replaceable brush strips? None of the other models of Fantom used replaceable brush strips. They all used Helix style brushes that had non-replaceable brush strips. So why they decided after this particular model was discontinued to not continue with this, I have no idea. But size-wise, length-wise, it's about the same. It's the same length as the Thunder brush roll, so I assume that this brush roll would probably fit in a Thunder. End caps are exactly the same. Something else you'll notice is that there is no headlight whatsoever. There's not even wiring for a headlight, so this vacuum just did not have headlights. I don't know about the commercial models, but the commercial models of Fantom, because apparently there was a short-lived commercial Fantom that wasn't a Vectron that just said Fantom. Don't know much about that, but I'm thinking that the headlights were an afterthought by Fantom once they re-released this vacuum as a household vacuum cleaner. Something else you'll notice about this vacuum cleaner upon closer inspection: no HEPA filter. There's not even a clip for the HEPA filter to snap onto, which means that they didn't even have a HEPA filter yet for this machine when they were making it. This piece, this part right here, is all one piece. It does not come apart. The first Fantom models had something called the exhaust cap that was about the same size as this, that you would clip onto this if you chose not to use the HEPA filter. But this was before they even had the HEPA filter, so there's no way that you can put a HEPA filter on this. It's all one piece. So that's another difference in comparison to the newer. So I was not expecting to see this many differences in this vacuum cleaner when I got it, but I'm glad there are so many differences, because then it finally gives me kind of a reason to have one in my collection, because my Thunders and my Fantoms I have at home are all virtually the same in design and appearance. So this one is a little bit different, so I think that's kind of unique. There's one more difference that I will show, at least one more difference that I can think of at the moment, that I will show quickly on camera once I screw this back in. So yeah, unfortunately I cannot run it because the motor is shot. How it got to be that way, again, like I said, could have been lots of fine dust that, ruined the bearings. Could just be due to usage. Carbon brushes could be shot, you never know. But at some point I'll have the motor rebuilt. So, hopefully you'll notice right away, if you know Fantoms pretty well, what's different about this one. That is a metal brush plate. Again, who would have thought that Fantom would have made, at least, the original Fantom would have had a metal brush plate. None of the other Fantom models ever had a metal brush plate. So, that's another big difference. Now, the early commercial Fantom models, now I'm not talking about the Europro Fantoms, I'm talking about the Iona Fantoms. None of the Iona Fantoms, besides this model, to my knowledge, had the metal brush plate, except for this commercial Fantom that I've been told about that also did not exist for very long. So that's another difference. Besides that, I can't think of anything else. It's got a little bit of wear, but it is definitely salvageable. Most of the parts are there. Obviously, I don't have any attachments. This isn't even to this. This is from a Thunder. You can tell that the attachments is black. It's supposed to be gray. But yeah, I'm glad to have this machine. It's a very rare machine, very unusual looking machine. It's 26 years old now. I suppose for its time it was very cutting edge in design. Now it looks, I wouldn't say it looks futuristic, but it does look very retro. So that is my SC Johnson Vectron. I hope you enjoyed the video.